Ethan wasn't supposed to go that far up the ridge, but curiosity always wins. By the time he reached the summit, his radio was dead, his flashlight flickering, and his breath, visible in air too still to be real. Then he saw it, a figure crouched over an old ranger post, whispering to something inside the ground. When Ethan stepped closer, the soil moved. The whispering stopped, and dozens of old, rusted hiking tags, names of the missing, began sliding out of the dirt like teeth. He tried to run, but the same voice that had lured every other lost tourist echoed through the trees. "Don't go yet, you haven't seen what's beneath." From that night on, no one ever found Ethan, only his camera still recording, facing the open earth. Would you still hike those mountains, knowing what's buried beneath? Before we go any further, if this is your first time here, we'd love for you to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Your support means the world and helps us bring you even more powerful stories. Stick with us until the end, and if this mystery moves you, share your thoughts in the comments and pass it along to a friend. The story begins with a sound, faint laughter, carried by the wind. It's not the kind that echoes in joy, but the kind that feels slightly off, stretched too thin, fading before it reaches the trees. On a misty morning in late August, the Caldwell Ridge Mountains stand like dark giants. Pine needles shimmer under dew, and the air smells like wet stone and old secrets. A group of 4 teenagers are seen on camera, laughing, teasing, and pretending not to be afraid. At the front is Malik Rivers, 17, quiet but curious. The kind of kid who doesn't speak much yet somehow leads the group. He's the one holding the GoPro, the one everyone trusts to keep things fun. Behind him are Nora, his classmate and self-proclaimed documentarian, Tyson, the loud one, and Benji, who jokes through every scary moment just to hide how nervous he is. "Bro, you think we'll actually see the—" "Stop," Malik cuts in, smirking. "Don't jinx it." The camera wobbles, showing the signpost. Caldwell Ridge Trail, closed after 6 p.m. Tyson laughs it off. "Man, it's just a curfew for tourists. We're locals, right?" Benji snorts. "Yeah, tell that to the last locals who went missing." Their banter fades into the wind as they start the climb. By noon, the forest swallows them. The sound of traffic disappears first, then the birds. Only the crunch of gravel and the hum of distant water remain. Malik records everything. Close-up shots of moss, a weird spiral carved into bark, even his friends arguing over snacks. The video feels alive, innocent, until it doesn't. Somewhere around hour 5, Nora comments that her phone has no signal. Tyson jokes about it, but Malik just glances at the GoPro clock. The time's flickering, blinking between digits like it's unsure what moment it belongs to. He laughs it off too. Still, the unease lingers. When the sun begins to drop, they reach an old wooden bridge. The planks creak under their shoes, the water beneath black as ink. Someone, maybe Benji, mutters that it looks like something out of a horror movie. Malik says nothing. His focus is fixed on something else, a low hum rolling under the wind, like the mountain itself is breathing. He turns the camera toward the valley below. Fog crawls along the tree line, thick and strangely shaped. For a split second, it almost looks like people standing in the mist, still, unmoving. But when he blinks, they're gone. Hours later, the group sets up camp. Laughter returns, though it feels forced now. They roast canned sausages, talk about graduation, dream about leaving the town behind. But between the jokes, Malik keeps glancing toward the tree line. The forest feels different here, heavier, older. Every sound carries too long before fading. And when he listens closely, he hears that same humming again, buried deep beneath the earth. The last recording found on Malik's GoPro shows the group sitting around the campfire. The flames flicker, painting orange light across nervous faces. Benji is mid-sentence when a faint vibration trembles through the ground, like a truck passing underground. Tyson curses. Nora asks if there's an earthquake. Malik lifts the camera, slowly panning toward the dark ridge beyond the firelight. The audio distorts. The humming grows clearer. A whisper follows. Impossible to tell if it's male or female. Just one word, stretched and broken. Closer. Then static. The fire flares bright and cuts to black. 3 days later, hikers find the campsite. No bodies, no footprints leading away. Just the GoPro, half buried in ash, and a single note scribbled on the inside of a tent flap. Don't follow the sound. Back in town, the gossip spreads like wildfire. Two old women whisper outside the grocery store. They said he was a smart boy, that Malik. Should have known better. You can't blame him. Kids don't listen these days. Someone else claims their cousin saw strange lights near the ridge that night. Others say it's government tunnels, or aliens, or the mountain taking back what's hers. But Malik's mother doesn't speak at all. She just sits by her porch every evening, listening to the wind whistle through the trees. Sometimes she swears she hears her son's voice, just faintly, calling her name. Months fold over like tired maps. The town stitches itself into routines. School, shifts, bar stools. But some things don't knit back together. Malik's camera becomes a quiet obsession. People watch the footage in drips, at the hardware store, in the back of the diner, on phones passed like contraband. Each viewing ages the town a little more. Enter Eli Sanderson, 42, a park ranger with a slow smile and hands that still smell faintly of pine sap. He's not a hero in any movie sense, just a man whose job is to notice what others miss. He keeps folders. He keeps notes in a battered spiral notebook. When he looks at maps now, he traces lines with his thumb, the way you trace the outline of a scar. Eli sees something nobody else did at first. 3 disappearances, spread across 15 years, all pinned on times that should mean nothing. The last week of August. Different faces, same whisper of timing. He marks the last known GPS points on a paper map, pins red tacks, and breathes slowly as the tacks form a triangle. The middle of that triangle sits on a ridge no one hikes, an old weather research station that closed the year Eli was born. He mutters, more to himself than anyone else, tapping the map like it might speak back. He visits the county records, pulls maintenance logs, reads through forgotten memos about seismic anomalies. The station was shut down after a project malfunctioned. The language in the file is clinical, but the margins hold human worry. Unusual low-frequency readings, acoustic distortions, personnel quoted as nervous. The words feel like ghost footprints. He tells a few people. Mostly they shrug. Teenagers disappear. Folks move on. But gossip sticks. It's a slow, crawling thing. At the coffee shop, 2 men at the counter argue in low voices. Eli's chasing shadows again, one says. Nah, he's good. He sees patterns. A teenager hustles by, earphones in, and tosses a look. Man, he's always poking where nobody wants to poke. The town hums around him like an impatient engine. Eli packs for a day trip that stretches toward obsession. He brings a recorder, spare batteries, a Geiger-like acoustic sensor, a thermos of coffee gone cold in the car, and a sandwich he forgets to eat until the end. He hikes slowly, boots on wet loam, breath sharp in the early air. He pauses often, fingers brushing lichen, a steadying hand on a sapling. Small rituals to keep his mind anchored. The weather station looks like a sleepwalker's dream. Rusted panels, an antenna gone slack, instruments frozen in a rusted ballet. Inside are filing cabinets full of labeled tapes and notebooks, their handwriting small and frantic. Eli runs his gloved hand across a console, the metal cold as regret. He sets up the recorder on the central table and begins narrating, his voice even, the kind that's used to addressing strangers who might die on a slope. He talks like a friend, slow and human. This is Eli Sanderson, Caldwell Ridge Weather Station. I'm here to document the... He stops himself mid-sentence, because that's what people do when the forest leans in to listen. Hours pass, and the mountain seems to rearrange the light. Shadows lengthen. Some feel like shapes you used to know. Eli walks the perimeter, humming to himself to keep the silence honest. He checks the old anemometer, the mercury sensors, anything that might explain the low frequencies recorded years ago. The instruments flicker, readings spiking and settling. But nothing obvious, nothing you could point to and say, yes, that explains a person vanishing. Back at the console, he plays one of the old tapes aloud, letting ancient static fill the room. At first, it's only wind caught by a microphone. Then, beneath it, a layered sound, a low, harmonic thrumming that vibrates the teeth. Eli's hands go still mid-read. He rewinds, listens again. This time he hears a suggestion of words folded into the thrumming, syllables overlapping, like a choir singing out of tune. Not quite language, not quite machine. He records his own impression, speaking slowly. There's a hum, like a throat under stone. It builds and then it folds into voices. He laughs softly, a breath of a sound. Weird, huh? He presses the recorder flat against the table, like an offering. When he plays the tape back later, his calm voice is threaded with a tremor he doesn't notice until afterward. The mountain keeps time in slow pulses. At one point, his narration cuts to a whisper. They said it mimics. It takes what it needs. He shakes his head, assuming he's tired. The recorder maintains fidelity without prejudice. People start asking questions. Neighbors, old park volunteers, a reporter who smells a story. At the diner, two women poke at biscuits and gossip like they're seasoning a stew. Eli always was the nose for trouble, one says. Maybe he's right, the other replies. Maybe the ridge has a memory, like a wound. The conversation flits from curiosity to blame. Why'd the kids go up there? Who lets teenagers roam that far? The town splits into whispers and side glances. Malik's mother folds herself into the background, staring longer at the road. A few people bring up the note found in the tent, "Don't follow the sound," and scoff or shiver. A local teacher tells a parent that superstition shouldn't outweigh facts. A bar patron mutters, "People like patterns." Makes them feel safe. But patterns are bait sometimes. Eli returns to the station a second time with more gear. He's methodical now, not reckless. He marks grids, takes soil samples, records at night when the mountain is quieter, and the hum, if present, can be isolated. He interviews old technicians who worked at the station years ago. One man with cracked knuckles hums and says, "We started hearing things in the basement." Voices that weren't ours. He stares at his coffee as if trying to remember the exact flavor of a lie. The more Eli learns, the clearer the triangle becomes. Coordinates aligning, dates matching, audio patterns repeating like a chorus. The hum synchronizes with small seismic tremors, not enough to topple trees, but enough to alter how the wind moves through branches. The evidence folds into a story with missing words. On his third night, Eli sends a short voice memo to the county office. "I'm close to something. I'll send more later." "If I don't..." The message stops, unfinished, like a held breath dropped into a well. The next morning, Eli doesn't come home. His truck is at the ranger station, keys in the ignition, thermos cold on the dash. His recorder sits on his desk with one file labeled "Last," and it cops a strange, low howl when the county techs play it in the hope of hearing routine background noise. They find his campsite at the edge of the triangle, a smoldered fire, an upturned boot, footprints fading into moss that looks smoothed as if someone had been erased. The recorder is intact, but the last 10 minutes of audio are an odd collage, static, a breath, Eli's name repeated under layers of something else. The waveform shows a long, low-frequency wave that swamps human speech. People say the town felt different after Eli. Maybe it's because the man who notices patterns had vanished into the pattern itself. At the baker's, gossip stops mid-sentence when someone mentions Eli. A hush passes through a table of strangers like a hand over a page. Rumors begin their slow march. The weather station was experimenting with sonic manipulation. The mountain swallowed test subjects. A cult performed chants in hidden caverns. None of these explain the softness of the footprints or the way the recorder's last file ends like a lullaby. Eli's disappearance changes the tone. Where once the town doubted, now they whisper and glance at the ridge. Where once a curious few hiked alone, fewer do now. The pattern, once a curiosity, grows teeth. And somewhere beneath the rusted panels and cracked instruments, the low hum, patient, ancient, waits. It has learned the sound of worry, the cadence of a ranger's heartbeat, the timbre of a teenage laugh. It folds them, stores them, and when the wind picks up through Caldwell Ridge, people swear they hear a voice calling, faint, familiar, asking for help. But whoever follows that voice walks toward the triangle. It's been nearly a year since Eli vanished. The mountain no longer looks mysterious to the locals. It looks haunted. The trees on Caldwell Ridge seem darker now, the fog slower, almost reluctant to leave. Even in broad daylight, there's a heaviness to the air, like the mountain itself remembers every name whispered into it. At the ranger station, Eli's desk sits untouched. The recorder, the one with the strange hum, is locked away in evidence storage. Every few weeks, a new officer listens to it, hoping for clues. They all describe the same thing afterward, a vibration that crawls under the skin, a faint echo of Malik's voice. And then, underneath it, something else, something that feels aware. The new arrival. That's when Dr. Arya Lowen, a young geologist from the State University, arrives. She's all precision and logic, with hands that fidget when she's thinking too much. She's heard the legends, the vanishing students, the missing ranger, but she doesn't believe in myths. She believes in data. In a quiet meeting room, she convinces the department to fund a drone survey over the ridge. Her proposal is simple: map seismic anomalies, find proof of subsurface cavities, and end the superstition once and for all. No ghosts, no entities, just rock and resonance. But when she replays the first aerial footage later that week, something strange catches her eye, a sinkhole that wasn't there in older topographic maps. It's wide, circular, and breathing fog like a mouth exhaling. The footage glitches halfway through, and for a fraction of a second, the drone's mic picks up a faint, overlapping whisper. Multiple voices, all repeating the same phrase, underneath. Arya freezes the frame. Her reflection stares back from the laptop screen, eyes wide, and just beneath the static, she swears she can hear someone saying her name. The expedition. A week later, she's standing at the edge of the sinkhole with two assistants, Marco, the technician, and Lisa, the intern, who's already regretting volunteering. They don't camp, they work. Tents flap quietly under a gray sky as wind moves through the pines with the weight of a sigh. The first night, the ground hums again. Not a tremor, a tone. It's low, constant, and somehow rhythmic. Lisa wakes up first. She sits in her sleeping bag, listening. The sound feels like it's crawling along her spine, like the mountain is humming just to her. In the faint moonlight, she whispers to Marco, but he's already awake, wide-eyed, recording. The audio monitor shows 3 overlapping waveforms: human speech, seismic frequency, and something in between. Something that shouldn't exist. By dawn, Arya's patience turns to fascination. She lowers a probe with a sensor into the sinkhole, but the signal fades halfway down, just before the wire jerks violently, as if something grabbed it. Probably caught on rock, Marco mutters. But even he doesn't believe that. They pull the probe up. The wire comes back warm, like it's been resting against a body. The Discovery. The second drone flight dives lower, its camera slicing through layers of fog until it finds the bottom. For a second, the feed is clear, and what it shows makes Arya's stomach twist. The floor isn't just rock. It's patterned, a massive circular formation carved with symbols, lines curling into spirals that mirror seismic readings. But what stands out most is movement. Dozens of shapes, half buried in the soil, their outlines faint but human enough to recognize. Hands, faces, bodies bent in impossible poses, as if pulled into the earth mid-scream. The feed cuts to static. When the team replays the footage frame by frame, one still freezes on Malik's face. Eyes open, mouth parted, a faint shimmer of sound waves surrounding him, like air caught mid-song. Lisa breaks first. She throws her headset down, whispering, "This isn't real. This can't be real." Arya just stares. Her lips move, but the only word she finds is how. The hum. That night, the hum returns, louder than before. The entire ridge vibrates, as if something enormous is shifting beneath it. The camp lights flicker. The radio bursts alive with overlapping voices. Eli's calm tone, Malik's soft laugh, and others they can't name. Marco grabs the recorder, yelling over the noise, "It's mimicking! It's copying us!" Then, silence. All at once. The kind of silence that feels heavier than sound. From the edge of the sinkhole, a faint glow seeps upward. Not bright, but pulsing. It beats like a heart. Arya steps forward despite every instinct screaming not to. Her breath fogs in front of her. Her hands tremble as she holds the recorder toward the light. Then, a whisper. Clear. Close. Arya. It's Malik's voice. And it sounds like he's right beside her. The aftermath. 2 days later, a rescue team finds the camp. No one's there. The tents are zipped from the inside, equipment untouched, drones still circling overhead until their batteries die. The only thing left behind is the recorder, half buried near the sinkhole's rim. When the authorities analyze it, they find a single hour of audio, the same low hum, and voices blending together until they form something almost melodic. At the 43-minute mark, one voice separates from the rest. It's Eli, soft, calm, almost relieved. He says, "They're not gone. They're beneath." The audio ends with what sounds like Malik laughing, not scared, not pained, just laughing, like a boy who finally understood the joke too late. Epilogue. The wind. Months later, hikers still hear things on the ridge. Sometimes it's a hum, sometimes a whisper. And sometimes, when the wind is low and the trees sway just right, you can hear a teenage boy's voice calling out, "Hey, come check this out." Locals say it's just the wind playing tricks. But others, the ones who've listened too closely, say the voice changes when you answer. It starts sounding like you. What do you think really happened to Ethan that night? Was it something human hiding in those woods? Or something ancient waiting to be found? Let me know what you believe in the comments. And if you love true unsolved mysteries like this, make sure to subscribe, because next time we're going even deeper.